Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
An episode of the FBI in Peace and War. The show ran on CBS all the way to, as memory serves, to 1958. It started before the FBI, This Is Your FBI, and ended after it. And in its declining years, had some really great ratings. This episode of the show from August 2nd, 1951, is entitled Unfinished Business.
The FBI in Peace and War. The FBI in Peace and War, brought to you by Wheaties Breakfast of Champions, a product of General Mills, and by Wild Root Cream Oil, America's favorite hair tonic. Look twice, and you'll look twice as good. Yes, look twice and make sure you get Wild Root Cream Oil hair tonic. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too. Transcribed, another great story based on Frederick L. Collins' copyrighted book, The FBI in Peace and War. Drama, thrills, action. Tonight's story, Unfinished Business.
So you want police protection, is that it, Ruby?
Yeah, that's it.
Why didn't you go directly to the police?
Joe said if I was ever in trouble, I should come to you first. He said you'd know what to do.
I see.
You got to get me out of this spot, Mr. Martin. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I can't sit still a minute as long as that guy's on the loose.
You think he might try to harm you?
After what I did, he'd just as soon kill me, I know.
What did you do?
It's none of your business.
All right, if that's the way you feel.
No, wait. I didn't mean that. I'm just so jumpy and nervous. I just meant...
Look, Ruby, if you want me to help you, I've got to ask questions.
Yeah, I know, Mr. Martin. I'm sorry.
How about a cigarette?
Yeah, I'd like one.
Right?
Thanks.
All right. Now, let's have the whole thing right from the beginning.
Well...
Everything, Ruby. No matter what you did.
Pretty crummy. But it wasn't all my fault. At first I thought...
Just tell me what happened.
All right. You know about Eddie Jackson?
Yes.
Well, I didn't. Not at first. All I knew was what Joe told me. He called me up to the club one night, Club 15. That's where I was working. He said there's somebody coming over tonight, and his name is Eddie Jackson. I want you to see terrible.
Check your hat, sir.
Huh?
Your hat, sir.
Oh, yeah, sure. Here, I sister.
Thank you, sir.
That's okay, honey. Thank you.
Here you are, sir. Your check.
Oh, yeah, check. My mistake. I sort of forgot about things like this. I've been away for a while.
Yeah?
Yeah, quite a while.
Good evening, sir.
Hello?
You have a reservation, sir?
Well,
We are very full, sir, if you have no reservation.
Well, I was supposed to meet Joe Ryan here. He said
Mr. Ryan, of course, sir. I'm so sorry. You are Mr. Eddie Jackson, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
This way, sir, please. We have a table for you right here at the ringside. Gus, Mr. Ryan's table is champagne.
Yes, sir?
Very best table, sir. Mr. Ryan has left complete instructions for the dinner. Everything is arranged.
Well, it's nice.
And here we are, sir.
This table?
That's right, Eddie. Leon.
Yes, Miss Ruby.
2 martinis and then we'll have dinner.
Very good, Miss. 2 martinis.
Sit down, Eddie. Joe's going to be a little late.
Look beautiful. I don't get this.
My name's Ruby Winters. I'm your date for the night.
My date?
Mm-hmm. Joe says you've been away a long time. He figured you might want somebody to do the town with you. I'm the somebody.
Well, what do you know about that?
You like the idea?
I sure do, gorgeous. What'd you say your name was?
Ruby Winters.
Okay, Ruby, take a deep breath. This is the night you're really going to remember.
He was right, huh?
Well, If I don't remember last night, my feet will, believe me.
He hit every spot in town.
And out of it. He even hired a cab to go gambling in Jersey.
What did he say about me not showing up?
Listen, after the third drink, he didn't even know you were living.
Did he know you were living?
Well, he didn't act like it was repulsive.
That's what I thought.
Joe, when are you going to let me in on this deal?
In a minute, baby. He really gave you a whirl, huh?
You'd think the guy hasn't seen a night spot in 50 years. Where's he been, Africa?
No, Atlanta. Just got out of the federal pen.
What?
Yeah, he was serving 6 years for armed robbery.
Well, you certainly got your nerve teaming me up with a jailbird.
Now, relax.
Relax? You telling me he was a business partner, telling me to give him the lovey-dovey routine.
Ruby, there's $100,000 in this.
What?
100 G's, cash, food and money. He's got it, and I want it.
Eddie? That little guy, he's got...
Yeah, that little guy. He's got.
Where would he get $100,000?
I gave it to him.
Huh?
6 years ago, I gave him $100,000 cash to take the rap from me on a bank job.
Joe, you're kidding.
I wish I was.
Well, you never told me.
It was before I met you. Me and the boys stuck up the Farmington National Bank. We got $200,000 out of it. The cops caught up with me, so I paid Eddie to sign a confession that he did it.
He served your term.
Yeah, 6 years. Less 6 months good behavior.
You paid in advance?
Sure, that was the deal. He's got every dime of that dough sorted away someplace.
Where?
That's what you've got to find out.
Oh, I see.
Won't be hard for a girl with your talent.
Thanks.
And look, what belongs to me belongs to you. 100,000 for the two of us. What do you say, Ruby?
What do you think I say?
Okay, baby. Go to work on it.
So I went to work on it. But the job wasn't as simple as it looked. Guy that's been locked up for all those years likes a good time, but he doesn't talk too much about his business.
Go on.
Well, I told Joe, I said this isn't going to be easy, and he said nothing good comes easy. You got to dig, that's all. So I said, okay, I'll dig, but I just hope we don't come up with a fistful of trouble.
Federal Bureau of Investigation, Mr. Shepard's desk. Yes, he is. Just a moment, please.
Morning, Miss Hill.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Bailey. How was the trip?
Not bad, thanks.
Did you see any shows in New York?
No, nose to the grindstone every time.
I'll just bet.
So it's the truth to help me. Mr. Shepard in?
Mm-hmm, waiting for you. Asked me twice if you'd call.
Good, that means something interesting's happened. See you later, Miss Hill.
Yes, sir. See you later.
Okay, I'm here. Let's get to work.
Well, at least take your coat off.
All right, but Miss Hill said you were asking for me. You heard from Florida?
Uh-huh.
Well, come on.
I will, but just briefly, how did you and the New York office make out?
Briefly, we got no place.
No?
We tailed Eddie Jackson in 8-hour shifts for 6 days. All he did in that time was make a tour of every restaurant, theater, and night spot in town with a girl named Ruby Winters.
Hitting the high spots, huh?
That's all.
But he spent money freely.
That's putting it mildly. He threw the stuff away.
Uh-huh. He just got out of prison a month ago.
Oh, he has money somewhere. There's no doubt about that. Plenty of money. Now, what about Florida?
Well, the Miami office followed that lead. There may be some truth in the tip that Jackson was working in a Palm Beach gambling joint on the night of the Farmington Bank holdup.
Well,
I said there may be. Miami's going to continue checking.
But if Jackson was in Palm Beach...
Why did he sign a confession to the robbery? You tell me.
He was taking the rap for somebody else.
Could be.
Could be. It probably is. Just as you said, look at the money he's throwing around.
Sure, but that might be the money he got from the bank holdup.
Or from someone who paid him to say he did the holdup.
Uh-huh. A whole flock of could-be's.
I'll say. So where do we go from here?
Well, our job has been and will continue to be the location of that money. $200,000 was taken from that bank.
What did Jackson say about the money in his confession?
Oh, the usual. He said he lost it on the races before he was picked up.
So
we'll have to put together all those could-be's and maybes and possibly come up with something. In the meantime, we keep a 24-hour surveillance on Eddie Jackson. Right. 24-hour surveillance and see what happens.
Memorandum for Shepard, please.
Yes, Mr. Bailey.
January 4th, subject went to theater with same woman. After theater, the downtown club. Subject left woman at her apartment. January 6th, subject spent afternoon shopping with same woman. Checkup with stores shows over $700 spent on clothes and jewelry. Subject went to dinner with woman, then returned.
looking at you, Ruby.
Same to you, Eddie.
And here's looking to you, Joe. Best friend a guy ever had. Thanks, Eddie. Same to you. And here's...
Eddie.
Yeah, honey?
If we're going to the fights, I want to put on a fresh face. Do you mind?
No, go ahead, baby. Go right ahead. Me and Joe will chew the fat a while. Haven't had much chance to chew the fat with old Joe these last few weeks.
I'll be back.
Yeah, we'll be here, sugar.
Pay the check in the meantime.
Yeah, sure, baby. Anything you say. Great little girl, isn't she, Joe? One of the best. Joe, I want to thank you, Joe. Thank me? For what? For everything. Best friend a guy ever had. Thank you for Ruby. Everything. You like her, huh? Like her. Here's a hot one. Come here, Joe. Huh? Come here. I want to tell you a little secret. Yeah? Ruby and me is... Yeah? Ruby and me is... Joe, will you be my best man? Huh? I haven't asked her yet, Joe, but if she says yes, will you be my best man? You going to ask Ruby to marry you? Sure. What's the matter with that? Nothing, Eddie. Nothing at all. You think it's a bad idea? Of course not, Eddie. I think it's the best idea I ever heard. You think she'll take me, huh? You bet I do, Eddie. If I know Ruby, she'll take you.
August 2nd, 1951, the FBI in Peace and War on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, more the FBI in Peace and War, August 2nd, 1951.
So Eddie Jackson was serious.
Yeah, the crazy luggy wanted to marry me.
He didn't know anything about you and Joe.
No, if he'd known anything but...
What's the matter?
Nothing. I thought I heard your doorbell. You wouldn't let anybody in here without seeing who it was, would you?
Nobody can get by the doorman, Ruby. I have permanent orders on that.
Okay, I'm kind of nervous.
I understand, but you're safe up here. Would you like a drink?
Yeah, maybe that would help.
All right, I'll fix one for both of us. Now, you keep talking.
Well...
Eddie Jackson wanted to marry you.
Yeah.
What did Joe do about that?
What did Joe do? You know him, he started figuring the angles. The more he figured, the better it looked. And the better it looked, the more I got sore at the whole shaky setup.
It's perfect, Ruby. It just can't miss.
Go on, enjoy yourself. Knock yourself out for good.
Oh, baby, I gotta admit, it's kind of funny. You set out to give the guy the business, and it ends up he wants to marry you.
What's funny about that?
You don't see it?
No.
Okay, skip it.
Never mind, skip it. I'm getting sick and tired of this business.
Now, look, relax. It won't be much longer.
Never should have let you talk me into this in the first place.
Not much longer, I guarantee. Look. The guy proposes marriage. There's got to be a honeymoon, right? There's a honeymoon. He's going to take plenty of dough along. Now you'll find out where he keeps it for sure.
Listen, if you think I'm going to marry this joker...
Who says you're going to marry him? You just let him think you are.
You can talk. You don't have to be with him 24 hours a day.
What's the matter? He's showing you time, isn't he?
You know what I mean. You and I hardly see each other anymore.
$100,000, baby. We'll see each other plenty once we get our hands on that.
You mean it?
I'm telling you, you play this thing along, and before you know it, we're on our way to the coast with money to burn.
All right, Joe. But if Eddie ever got wise to this setup...
Oh, forget it. He doesn't know a thing. Right now, he's out shopping for a wedding ring.
Yeah?
Sure, he called me up this morning, wanted my advice. Should he get plain gold or a diamond band?
No kidding.
Uh-huh. And I said, diamonds, Eddie, all the way around. For a girl like Ruby, nothing but the best. That's what I said.
Nothing but the best, Eddie. That's what you said. That's what I got. And you couldn't find a better-looking ring if you bought it legitimate.
Not bad. Not bad at all, Shorty.
Classy, huh?
Yeah, real nice. Isn't hot, is it?
Hot? Hey, what kind of business you think I run?
No offense, just checking.
You know I wouldn't sell you anything hot, Eddie. An old pal like you. Honest, I'm losing money at 1,000.
I said it, take it.
Losing money. I really hate to give it up. Oh, she's a very lucky girl.
Shorty. I'm a very lucky guy.
Well, either way, it's $1,000 cash.
Can I have it for you right here?
And an extra $5 for the Fifth Avenue box.
Uh-huh.
Incidentally, who is the lucky girl? You didn't tell me.
Prettiest in town.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Ruby Winters.
Ruby Winters? You mean Joe Ryan's girl?
What?
I mean.
What did you say?
Oh, nothing, Eddie.
What do you mean, Joe Ryan's girl?
Oh, me, Eddie.
What did you mean?
I was surprised, that's all. Ruby is Joe's girl. Everybody knows
Why,
that.
you
Tell
dirty
me
little...
the truth, so help me. Now, I wouldn't lie to you, Eddie. You couldn't have known because you were in the pen. Now, let me talk with you.
Go on, talk.
Like I said, now, everybody knows it, that Joe and Ruby are like that.
Listen, Shorty.
You gotta believe me, Eddie. Now, Joe almost killed a guy once over Ruby.
That's the truth? You swear?
I swear it, Eddie.
Ruby's Joe's girl. Okay, Shorty. Yes?
Eddie, you still want the ring, don't you? Eddie?
Yes. I still want the ring.
Then he called me up and said he had a surprise he wanted to show me. I knew he had the ring. The surprise I didn't know was that somebody else was interested in that ring besides me and Joe and Eddie.
Memo to Shepard. Surveillance of Eddie Jackson, January 10th. Followed well-known fence Shorty Zeller to Jackson's room. Zeller left room in half hour, counting large sum of cash. Jackson later went to dinner. Hello, Shep. You wanted to see me?
Yes, Frank, sit down. I've been reading over your memorandums. Coupled with what I've got, our maybes and could-bes are beginning to iron out.
Oh?
Wire just came in from Miami. They have positive evidence that Eddie Jackson was working in Palm Beach on the night of the Farmington Bank holdup.
Well, good. That takes care of the maybes. What about the rest?
Why did Jackson sign a confession of the robbery when he couldn't possibly have done it?
Right.
Well, we know for sure now that the money he's been throwing around can't be money from the holdup. So it must be
Money from someone who paid him to confess.
Exactly.
So we swing into action, pick up Jackson, get a brand new confession out of him.
Not yet. There's one more could-be I'm particularly interested in.
Yes?
Look at your memos. Ruby Winters is spending all her time with Jackson, and as common gossip, Ruby's Joe Ryan's girl. What's she up to? Find that out, Frank, and we may find our $200,000. Find out what Ruby's up to, and then we'll swing into action.
There you are, darling.
Thanks, Eddie. You're coming in, aren't you?
Well, it's pretty late. We got a big day tomorrow.
Just walk me upstairs. Big day is right. Whoever thought when we met that first night you and me'd be getting married?
Nobody. Least of all me.
Yeah?
Sure. I couldn't imagine a pretty thing like you not being all tied up.
Oh, go on.
No, I mean it. I was sure you were maybe even Joe's girl or something.
Joe's girl? That's a good one.
Yeah. That was crazy, wasn't it?
I'll say. Sure you won't come in for a nightcap?
Oh, not tonight, Ruby. Give me a rain check, huh?
Whole lifetime of rain checks, Eddie. Starting first thing in the morning.
You'll be all packed and ready to go?
Will I?
You don't want to back out now, do you? Before it's too late?
Some chance. Do you?
No. This is one thing I really want to go through with.
You won't be sorry.
I don't think I will. Hey, Ruby. See you in the morning.
Gonna kiss me goodnight?
Oh, sure. Sure I am.
Good night, darling.
Hey, Ruby. Get a good sleep.
Don't worry, I will. Night, Eddie. Joe, Ruby.
Yeah, Ruby.
Joe, I know where he's got the money.
What?
He spilled it tonight at dinner. He said I ought to know in case something ever happened to him.
I told you. What didn't I? I told you.
Okay, wise guy, you told me.
Where are you now, Ruby?
At the apartment. He just left a minute ago.
All right, I'll hop a cab and come right over.
No, never mind the cab. Get your car out.
The car?
Yeah, we're going out in the country. About 80 miles north of here on Route 17.
You don't mean he's got the door out at the farm?
That's where it is, Joe.
I'll get the car. Meet me downstairs in 10 minutes.
So we had to go with the farm. Who would have figured that?
How much further is it, Joe?
Any minute now. Just off one of these dirt roads, but it's been so long since I was up
There
here.
couldn't be anybody there.
No, nothing but the mice. It's an old rundown shack.
And the conclusion of Unfinished Business, an episode of the FBI in Peace and War from August 2nd, 1951, following these important words. You're listening to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
You ever make a change and then think, why didn't I do this years ago? Well, that's how people feel about switching to Medishare for their health care, especially now with inflation the way it is. People are very happy with the savings. Most families save about $500 a month when they switch. It's a huge help when prices are going up so fast in so many other areas. And Medishare's customer satisfaction rate is double that of health insurance. It's just a different experience, and people really like that. Medishare is an alternative to health insurance. It's a community of Christians who share each other's healthcare bills, and it's been going strong for over 25 years. It really is the gold standard, the most trusted name in healthcare sharing. Find out why people love it, find out why they rave about the customer service, and find out how good it feels to save some money right now. They're super easy to talk to. Here's the number, 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE, 833-34-BIBLE.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of the FBI in Peace and War, Unfinished Business, from August 2nd, 1951.
Me and the boys bought it 10 years ago.
That's how Eddie knew about it?
Yeah, when he was working for me. Oh, here we are. I remember that no trespassing sign.
Joe,
Yeah?
what's Eddie going to do when he finds out the dough's gone?
What can he do?
If he ever knew that you and me...
Sure, he'd finish the both of us. Okay. There's a flashlight in that glove compartment.
All right. Here.
All right, come on.
Sure is a creepy-looking dump. No wonder Eddie used it. Nobody in his right mind would come within a mile of the place. Gives you the shivers.
Oh, don't worry. The 100,000 will take him away. In there.
Joe,
Yeah?
there won't be the whole 100, will there?
Say he spent 10. That still leaves 90.
Gee. All that cash right here in this room.
The fireplace, huh?
Yeah, he says the mantelpiece is stuff.
Okay, here it is.
Gee, Joe.
Here. You hold the light so I can see what I'm doing. Lifts up, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll lift it up.
There it is. Metal box, just like you said.
Take it out.
I got it. Look at that stuff.
100 grand.
Oh, Joe.
100,000 smackers.
Matt.
Only singles underneath.
What?
A few large bills and singles underneath. Where's the rest? In the bank vault, Joe.
Huh? Rest of the money's in a bank vault. Or it's been for 6 years.
Eddie.
Hello, Joe. Hello, Ruby. I see you two didn't waste any time getting here.
Eddie, I can tell you what happened,
Don't
honey.
bother. I know what happened. All right. How do you want this? Ladies first?
Eddie, put that gun down and listen for a minute, will you?
I think you'll be first, Joe. I want Ruby to enjoy this. Get over against the fireplace.
Eddie.
Do like I say.
You gotta listen to me, Eddie. I know this doesn't look so good, but there are angles you don't understand.
Yeah, I'll bet there are. Okay, Ruby. I'll take that flashlight. Ruby! Come back here, Ruby! Okay. Let her go. Her turn will come later. Joe? All right, Joe. Go ahead and make your run. You'll never get out of this room alive. Go ahead, Joe. Try it.
Then a car gave me a lift and I got into town. I bought a paper right away, but there wasn't anything in it about a shooting. I didn't know what to do with Eddie on the loose.
So you came here?
Yeah. Listen, Mr. Mart. What's that, the front door?
Yes.
And I gave strict orders not to let anybody up here.
Don't let him in. He'll kill me. Don't let him in.
Be quiet, please. You're getting unnecessarily upset.
Mr. Martin, don't open it, please.
Stop acting like a little fool.
Eddie! Don't let him in. He'll kill me, Mr. Martin.
Dry up, Ruby. Nobody wants you but the cops. Well, Martin, these guys are from the FBI. Picked me up out at the farm. Joe's downstairs in their car.
All right, Miss Winters, come along, please.
What is this?
These Boy Scouts were tailing me all the time, Ruby. Don't worry. They can't keep me in the pen forever. When I come out, sweetheart, you and me have got some unfinished business.
Confronted with the FBI evidence on the Farmington bank robbery, Eddie Jackson revealed the details of his pact with Joe Ryan and surrendered his share of the stolen money. Ryan was tried and sentenced to 15 years for the robbery, Jackson to 6 as an accessory after the fact. No charge could be lodged against Ruby Winters. But when Eddie Jackson's term is up, we have an idea that Miss Winters won't be around for that unfinished business.
Names and characters used in this partly transcribed program are fictitious. Any similarity to persons living or dead is purely coincidental. This program is based on Frederick L. Collins' copyrighted book, The FBI in Peace and War, and is not an official program of the FBI. In tonight's story, Ed Begley played the part of Joe Ryan, Elspeth Eric was Ruby Winters, and Frank Reddick was Eddie Jackson. The radio dramatizations for the FBI in Peace and War are written by Louis Pelletier and Jack Fink. These programs are produced and directed by Betty Vandevelde. And now, this is Hugh Holder saying good night.
August 2nd, 1951, the FBI in Peace and War on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, Part 4 of the 5-part Yours Truly Johnny Dollar story, The Sea Legs Matter. This originally broadcast August 2nd, 1956.
From Hollywood, it's time now for...
Johnny Dollar.
Alguien le llama de los Estados Unidos.
Huh?
Johnny?
Yes.
Pat McCracken, Universal Adjustment in Hartford.
Oh, hi, Pat.
Now listen, as you requested, I had a man sent out to Mrs. Lanfear's Long Island home to see if she'd returned.
I suspicion wrong, Pat. She's still here, very much so.
Will you listen?
Shoot.
The man was a little over-ambitious. Let himself into the house through a basement window.
So?
While he was there, the telephone rang.
He wasn't crazy enough to answer it.
Crazy like a fox. It was long distance from right where you are now, San Juan del Perro. And, Johnny, I suspect it was from the man on whose policy she's made a claim for $250,000.
Her dear departed husband, Douglas Lanfair.
Right. Now, if so, her claim on him, at least, is fraudulent. So see if you can dig up some proof.
Brother, I have it. The man is anything but dead.
Huh?
It was Douglas Lanfair who wrecked our plane when we tried to land here a few hours ago.
Then, Johnny, get him.
Sure. If he doesn't get me first.
Tonight and every weekday night, Bob Bailey in the transcribed adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account. America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. From Special Investigator Johnny Dollar, location San Juan del Perro, Nicaragua, to the Universal Adjustment Bureau, Hartford, Connecticut. Following is an accounting of expenses incurred during my investigation of the Sea Legs matter. $250,000 insurance claimed by Mrs. Constant Lanfair for the death of Douglas Lanfair. An additional $150,000 for the loss of the yacht, the Sea Legs. Claim number 1 now proved to be fraudulent. As for number 2, the claim on the yacht. Expense account item 14, $2 American. To the banana plantation worker who pulled us out of the small plane that Douglas Lanfair wrecked as we tried to land. And another $1 to said plantation worker for a ride into town in his ancient truck. I must admit that this is one time that my ubiquitous assistant, Oscar Patrick Vladimir Pasquero, came in handy through his knowledge of the Spanish Indian dialects spoken in these parts. Apparently, San Juan del Perro had once been a fairly busy little seaport. But over a period of years, the sea had slowly, inexorably washed in shallow sandbars, and only a handful of small cargo and fishing boats now negotiated the narrow channels that led out to the Blue Caribbean. The town itself was scattered around a small marketplace near the docks. There were a few stone and brick buildings, including the San Andrea Hotel, but most of them were weather-beaten frame structures. An occasional aged American car kicked up the dust, but most of the street traffic was ox carts. Item 15, $2 American, to a doctor with an unpronounceable name who came to our room at the San Andrea and patched us up. And about 7 p.m. he left after instructing us to spend the rest of the night in bed. Item 16, another $2 for a sumptuous dinner brought to our room. American dollars, I learned, go far in this place. Unless, of course, Oscar gets his hands on them.
You should let me handle all the bills for you while you're here in Nicaragua, Mr. Dollar.
Yeah, sure, and let you take a 50% commission on all of them, huh? No thanks.
But, Mr. Dollar,
When the poor fellow who rented us that plane to get down here starts patching it up, my expense account is going to take a big enough beating.
Have no fear. I will supervise the repairs on the plane myself.
Yeah, for a small pittance.
Of course. What a wonderful dinner. Now, to sleep it off.
Well, you sleep all you want to. I got work to do.
Work? Yeah. Besides, you still haven't told me why we flew down here in the first place. I still don't understand.
Listen, Oscar, a couple of years ago, Landfair lost a power cruiser off the Boldero Islands.
I know. I told you I helped him and his wife and his captain get to shore.
He collected $85,000 for that boat from his insurance company.
I saw the boat. It was worth the $85,000. So he should have insured it for more, maybe $100,000. Made himself a profit. A very poor businessman.
Would you listen? The ease of collecting on that loss must have given him ideas. What's more, he could do with some money. The parental estate was running low. Anyhow, a few weeks ago, he brings a yacht, a motor sailor down here.
The Sea Legs.
Right. This one's insured for $150,000. And his own life is insured for $250,000.
Aha. Maybe he's not such a bad businessman after all.
He takes the Sea Legs out to the very same place where he lost the first boat. This time, he leaves his wife ashore. He and the skipper go out alone, presumably to check on some new radio equipment he's installed.
Sure, we made the radio contact from my own personal sender on shore at Puerto Gardo.
But the contact was suddenly cut off.
I heard it.
And the next thing we know, Mrs. L is back at her home on Long Island claiming a total of $400,000.
Well, why not if she thought he went down with the boat?
Because I don't think she did. What's more, I'm going to prove...
Of course I knew it all the time. Because if he drowned off the Boldero Islands, what was he doing here today, driving the car that wrecked our plane? Unless he was dead. And do you know something, Mr. Dollar? I don't believe it.
Oscar, there was somebody in the cabin of that other plane waiting to take off with him after he smashed our landing gear.
You didn't see who?
No, but I'll give you odds it was Constant Landfair. Another thing, she said that when the Sea Legs went down, she heard it go over the radio. You said that the signal just suddenly cut off.
Mr. Dollar, you don't think the yacht was wrecked at all?
Not any more than I think Landfair went down with it.
Then where is it?
Well, I have a hunch it's right here in San Juan del Perro.
Yes, but wouldn't everybody know the boat?
Oh, Oscar, one of the oldest insurance rackets in the world is to fake a shipwreck, take the hull to some obscure foreign port, dress it up in new paint and rigging, then put it to sea again.
Now, why didn't I think of such a...
Now, if I remember rightly, I spotted a couple of old shipyards down here when we circled the land.
Yeah, sure, but there's only one that does any work.
Do you know where it is?
Of course I do. You see how invaluable I am to you?
Then that's where we're going right now.
But, Mr. Dollar, what if you do find the boat?
What do you mean?
If Mr. Landfair has already flew the goose, he took off in that other plane after we cracked up.
Look, we'll take things as they come along. Right now, while we're here, I want to look for that yacht. I saw an excellent picture of it, and I'm sure if I find it, I can identify it.
And if we do find it?
We will have twice the case against the Landfairs.
Mr. Dollar, I am fortunate to be working for such a sterling, silver, 14-carat genius, for the most outstanding, intelligent instigator...
Get your hands out of my pockets. There's one other thing I'd like to find. One person, unless Landfair murdered him.
Who?
His one-man crew.
Oh, Ramon Gonzalez. The same man as on the first trip.
Well, if he was allowed to live through the first wreck, he was probably in cahoots with Landfair and therefore is still around. Would you recognize him if you saw him?
Maybe so, maybe not. The first trip he was big and fat. The second trip he was skinnier. He wore a beard on his face. If he's changed again, yeah.
Oh, you're a lot of help. I thought you never forgot a name or a face.
But, Mr. Dollar, him I never made any money off of.
Well, come on, get into your clothes and let's prowl around the shipyard. It was only a few minutes after 8, but the town was practically asleep, except for an old saloon down near the docks. Quietly, so not to disturb the snoozing night clerk, we let ourselves out of the hotel and headed for the waterfront. The night was clear and moonlit, so we had no trouble finding the way. I glanced hopefully into the open door of the dockside saloon as we passed it, and I chuckled at the incongruity of the music blaring away. But of course saw no one that... Wait a minute, Oscar.
Yes, sir?
At that table in there, drinking beer. Hey, could one of them be the Raymond Gonzalez you mentioned?
So who can tell from here? In San Juan del Perro, there must be 100 who are skinny and wear a dirty little beard on their face.
Could you tell from close-up?
Sure.
Would he recognize you?
So what?
Well, it might not be very healthy for you.
Ah, Mr. Dollar, working on an important campaign for you, my dearest friend, I would gladly lay down my life for you.
For a small pittance, of course.
Of course. Anyhow, how would he know I am working for you?
Okay then. Saunter in and take a look.
Okay.
I'll wait right here.
Good evening, gentlemen. Nice weather we're having, huh? Es buen día, no? Well, if it isn't my old pal Ramon Gonzalez. How are you, Ramon? Extranjero? Me? A stranger? Why, I'm one of your oldest and dearest friends. Mi amigo, remember?
Sálgate, extranjero.
Get out. But I am Oscar Patrick Vladimir Pesquero. You know, just a fine old Spanish name. Who helped you ashore that time when you... No. Put on that bottle.
Salga, lárgate de aquí, o si no te mato.
Oh, no.
Te mato.
Mr. Dollar.
Yeah, I don't think they liked you to interrupt their little beer party.
He threatened me with a knife. He said he would kill me.
Is he Ramon Gonzalez?
Who? Oh, yes, I'm sure of it. You see, Mr. Dollar, he did not go down with the ship.
You're telling me.
Well, aren't you going to do something about him?
Later, if I locate the sea legs. Cautiously, quietly, looking back over my shoulder now, we prowl through the old shipyard. And finally, led by the smell of fresh paint, I found it. The once clean white hull was painted a gaudy red and blue, and given the appearance of age. The mahogany rail and taffrail had been replaced with iron pipe. The beautiful teakwood deck painted a dirty gray. The wheelhouse had been moved, the cabin altered, even the mast, bowsprit, and general rigging changed. Stanchions, cleats, all the hardware that had once been polished bronze was now corroded or painted over. All in all, a quick, very thorough job of disguise, of change, from a graceful, expensive yacht to a rather weary-looking fishing schooner. But it was the sea legs, all right.
I would never believe it, Mr. Dollar. I never would have recognized it. Are you sure?
Wind your hand over the transom here. You can feel where the lettering has been painted over.
Don't strike a match so I can see.
Better not. Somebody... It's too late now. But do you see where the outline of the lettering is underneath this last coat of paint?
Sea legs. But it was such a beautiful boat. And now it looks like a dirty old tramp. Well, what do we do now?
Go back to that saloon and latch on to Ramon Gonzalez. Make him talk.
Sure. Only, I'll wait for you.
Huh?
Well, he's so big and strong, Mr. Dollar, and that knife in his belt.
Why, I thought you said you'd lay down your life for me.
Sure. But what could he tell you that you don't already know now?
Where the landfare's headed when they took off in that plane. Come on.
But Okay, you lead.
Alto, senor.
Mr. Dollar, it's him.
You light a match to show me the way. Gracias.
I was afraid of that.
Look, the knife in his hand.
Oscar, if he makes one move to throw it, pull the trigger.
Trigger? What trigger?
Have I gone?
No, I swear
But I have a couple of fists. Well, let's bring him in. Bring him to so I can question him.
No. Let's get out of here. Please, Mr. Dollar, he may have a friend around.
Right, Oscar, he has. And this one carries a gun aimed straight at Mr. Dollar's back.
Well, Mrs. Lamphere.
surprised, Johnny?
Now, here's our star to tell you about the final episode of this week's story.
Tomorrow, sometimes when you wind up a case, things take a turn, a sudden switch that makes you wish you hadn't won. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. It is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone, who also wrote this week's story. Be sure to join us tomorrow night, same time and station, for the next exciting episode of Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Roy Rowan speaking.
There's part 4 of the 5-part Yours truly, Johnny Dollar story, The Sea Legs Matter, August 2nd, 1956. Let's hope tomorrow's show is just the last show of the current story and not the last of Johnny Dollar. Alrighty, we thank you for tuning in, and please thank this station, support their advertisers, and also visit my webpage, classicradio.stream. You can stream all 21 hours of classic radio theater we produce every week. You can also hear all of the shows on demand. You can learn where our shows are available for download. You can find our social media links. You can also contact me directly, and you can also buy me a copy. That'll help for us to acquire more great radio shows. Thanks for tuning in. Thank this station. Support their advertisers. Tell your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.